Hello and welcome back to KXAM Plus. Thanks so much for joining me here for our Simple Health show. Today we have our Simple Health expert. He's always here to help me with this show, and that is our KXAN Simple Health expert, Jose Torres. Jose, thank you for joining me again. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Esme. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's a Monday, so we can only feel the Monday blues, but we did have a lot of rain this weekend, so that was super exciting.
Yeah, it's always and relaxing, right? I don't know about you, but I just feel super relaxed when it's raining.
Yeah, it helps me go to bed. It's like white noise.
hmm
And it was throughout the entire night, so that's awesome, right?
hmm
How are you doing this week?
This week, got a lot of work planning some future stories here for Simple Health. But it's always fun, so it's good work.
Good work, always good work. And before we start our show today, it's going to be a little different. But before we get into all of that, can you give us a brief rundown of what Simple Health is and why we do Simple Health here at KXAN?
Yeah, chances are maybe you or someone is dealing with a health challenge in their lives. And so, trying to get all of that information can be overwhelming. And so, what we try to do at KXAN Simple Health is to empower you with information, simplify some of those hard to digest things, whether it's a study, whatever research there is, and also tell you about the study and the untold stories that are happening here in Central Texas as far as treatment goes, as far as studies. We've talked about several of those here recently. And so again, we try to empower you with information to also give you hope and let you know that you are not alone, because there are plenty of resources here to help people with any kind of illness, or if just you need support and someone to talk to.
Yeah, that's right. And we've interviewed here in person on our show many doctors and patients, as
Mhm.
well as you've gone out and done a lot of interviews with individuals in the community who are struggling through some situations that are oftentimes overlooked. So highlighting those important stories is important to us here on Simple Health. But Jose, like I mentioned, this week is going to be different. I'm going to be sitting in your seat and you're sitting in my seat, and we're going to be flipping roles, right?
Yeah, we're doing a role reversal, a Freaky Friday,
Oh,
maybe.
a Freaky Friday switch? That's funny. Well, yeah, I'm going to let you take it away because I'm going to be answering all your questions.
All right. So the topic we're talking about is eating disorders and body image. And we are focusing on a new study that you were looking into. Over half of Latinx Texans are struggling with some type of body image, and some even struggle with eating disorders. Um, in your reporting, what did you find in the study for this group of individuals?
Well, before we get into it, one of the things, this story is something I reported on, I believe 2 weeks ago. So it's something I wanted to bring back up here in Simple Health on our stream so that we could talk about it in more in depth. But when we did publish this story, one of the big topics revolving this story was the word Latinx that you just used.
Mhm.
And a lot of people were kind of confused why we were using this word and where it came from. I do want to make it clear that the word came from the research article. So, this is the name that was given to the individuals in this case study. And the reason for that, Jose, was because they were looking at the population of Hispanic individuals in Texas, but they didn't want to label them as Latino or Latina because it's obviously a mix of genders that they're looking at. So, they decided to go with the word Latinx Texans, and that's just the word that they use. So that's the word we are referring to because it is directly pulled from the research study. But yes, we are taking a look at a group of Hispanic individuals here in Central Texas, or not Central Texas, in Texas, who are struggling with things like body dysmorphia, eating disorders, maybe overweighing or over drinking water, and all of this was surveyed with 980 Latinx identifying individuals to better understand how culture, identity, and lived experiences affect body image, and disordered eating behaviors, and overall mental health and access to the treatment to help all of this. But one thing that it did reveal was that 56% of these individuals were unhappy with their bodies.
And regarding this research, regarding the studies and the percentages that you mentioned, did they mention a little bit more context about why they're unhappy?
Yeah, so I spoke with a professional, Ana Luz Gardner. She is a licensed clinical social worker who kind of read over the article and gave me all of the information that she pulled from it and all of the feedback that she got when reading the research and like thinking back on her knowledge of her experience in a Hispanic household, her
Hmm.
experience with her patients who come from Hispanic households. And one of the things, or some of the things that stood out, was that over half participate in meal skipping, 36% binge eat, 30% water load, and 3 in 10 individuals participate in excessive weighing. Most importantly, 2 out of 3 of these respondents never seeked mental health or support. And Ms. Gardner or Dr. Gardner said that she thinks it stems from family.
Yeah. Oh, me as well, growing up in a Hispanic household, my mom shows her love through cooking.
Yeah.
So my mom just wants to feed you because she that's the way she shows her love.
Yeah.
But
And
sometimes you just
majority of the time, if you don't eat that food, they feel like you don't love them in a
right.
dramatic extent, right?
But so you're surrounded by food. At least that's been my experience. And so sometimes it's hard to say no, right? Like you were just saying.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Do you have any personal experience with this, like similar to what I just said?
Yeah. So growing up in a Hispanic household, this is something that happens a lot. You go to Thanksgiving and your family's like, you're gonna eat all of that plate that you served yourself, or they say, why aren't you serving yourself more? Personally, I have 2 twin brothers, and we're all given nicknames right as soon as we were born, but specifically, my twin brothers were given the nicknames of Flaco and Gordo, which
Hmm.
means skinny and fat,
Yeah.
essentially. And it's because when they were born, one was bigger than the other, and that's just a name that stuck with them. But it doesn't feel good to be called that all the time, and that's something that they're dealing with right now. But it's similar to what Dr. Gardner shared with me in the interview, and I'm going to pull up one of these sound bites where she explains more of what we mean by this.
In a lot of countries or maybe in a lot of households, food is love. Food is part of the culture. I can show affection by making someone something delicious, and usually, if you're Latinx, that person will have to eat it to show their appreciation. Something else that I think about is just nicknames. In many countries, they'll call you by what you look like. So some people are called gorda or flaco or flaca, and that's sometimes it's your nickname for life. That doesn't happen in every household. It's pretty common, and it's something that I hear from many, many patients, and just body image being the focus of a lot of conversations, whereas that's not always typical maybe in someone else's household.
Yeah, so pretty much what I was sharing about my household is
Yeah.
kind of what she mentioned in that soundbite.
I got to say that I'm guilty of calling my little nephews. I have 12 of them,
Oh,
nieces and nephews. But I say gordis. I think in the Latin community, at least from my experience, gordis or gordo is a term of endearment,
hmm,
and even if they grow, they continue as they grow up, and they're not fat and they're healthy, but that term of endearment, from my part, I still call them one of my nephews, little gordo, or some friends I do call them gordis, but it's meant out of love. But realizing though that can leave a mark in your mental state if you're dealing with eating disorders or body image. This is something to think about. But yeah, I'm guilty of that.
yeah, some individuals aren't as strong minded as others. So nicknames like this may get to them later on in the future. When they're babies, they probably don't see it that way. But once you get older and you're living life and you're going through new jobs and people ask you,
Hmm.
hey, what's your name
Hmm.
or what's your nickname? And it might just come up in conversation, or you might invite someone over and they'll hear your family calling you that. It's just everyone is different and everyone handles it differently, right? But clearly this research shows that there are negative mental health effects towards this group of individuals.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, especially when you get, the nicknames, the terms of endearment at home doesn't translate well when you're at public schools or,
Yeah.
like you said, in workplaces. So yeah, there's that clash there that can also cause body images, maybe something like that. So yeah, something to think about. At least for me, calling my little nieces and nephews gordos or gordis.
Me too, my brothers. Same thing.
All right. So, in your article, through your reporting, you spoke to the doctor there, and she discussed there being a deeper dissatisfaction among these individuals in the study, even after they see or complete certain body changes. What did she mean by that?
So she pretty much meant like in the Hispanic community, it's um I wouldn't say very popular, but it's very common to get things changed about your body or your face, and that can be like reconstruction surgery or doing things to your body surgically.
Mhm.
A lot of the individuals in this study who did end up doing that in the future or in the past or plan to do it, they said that even after that drastic change that they experienced, they just still didn't feel the same and they still felt like they weren't happy with their body or they felt like I'm never going to be happy with my
Mhm.
body no matter what change I do. That's kind of what she was saying. But I do have another soundbite where she explains it a little better than I just did. And let's go ahead and listen to that.
Okay.
Uh, in a lot of Latin households, I think there's a big emphasis in saving face, or just in Spanish, there's a saying like you're gonna don't wash your dirty laundry outside, say it in Spanish, but you really are encouraged to deal with your mental health on your own and not ask for help, because it can be unfortunately seen as embarrassing or like a weakness. And to some people, there's also, the spiritual component, and depending on someone's spiritual or religious background, they might say that, it's like spiritually induced. Um, Truly, the research shows that when you do have support and when you do have community and you can talk about these things openly, there is so much more success long term for that individual. And I think a lot of Latinx individuals are kind of breaking out of that habit and that box already, saying like, hey, I am anxious, or hey, I am struggling with an eating disorder. I need help. But it is that first step of being that change agent within your family, within your community, and looking for resources, talking about what is appropriate, what conversations are helpful, what conversations are harmful. And I think the first step would be education, that there is so much mental health, in the world, but in these Latin communities, we deserve to get help. We deserve, our community and our people deserve, the best versions of ourselves. And sometimes that comes with going to therapy, asking for help, and being honest.
Well, that was not the soundbite that I meant I meant to play. We are having some technical issues and it's not there, but that was the next soundbite of the next topic we were going to talk about, and that is um, about the group of people that don't go and seek that help or maybe don't have access to that help.
And there are many reasons for it, but I think one of the things that we talk about here at Simple Health is that community it plays a big role in adapting to a certain lifestyle because of a health challenge or just for that need of support. I like to say that community keeps the heart beating because we are not meant here to be alone. So finding a support group leaning into that community uh, is hard in the beginning, but once you're in there, it's going to make a world of difference.
Yeah, especially if you're away from family. I think having or building that community wherever you are, finding the people that you connect with is really what helps you and like you said keeps the heart beating
Hmm.
because it's you need that community to stay alive and to stay positive and to stay happy and healthy. In the research that we went over, 63% of those with negative mental health were not seeing a provider. 47% said it was important for their provider to be part of the Latino community, and 25% had been discouraged from seeking care due to the lack of culturally aligned providers. But there's also a big chunk of individuals who fear going to get that mental health help because they feel like they're going to be seen negatively from their family, from their peers, from their brothers and sisters, from their cousins, because in that Latin household, there's a stigma around mental
Hmm.
health. There's like a fear of judgment from your providers or your family. So that's also a hurdle that a lot of these folks are dealing with every day.
It's that stigma that you mentioned. It's like you're weak to go and seek help, and so that's not the case. You're actually strong to admit that you want to better yourself,
Yeah.
or address whatever you need to address.
And you are also coming from a Hispanic household.
Hmm.
Is that something that you have noticed growing up with your family, like the response from mental health?
Yeah, especially from from the men in your family, they're very macho in the old,
Machista.
yeah.
Yeah.
So in their eyes, it's like, why do you need to go and help? Just deal with it on your own, like
That's
I
right.
did.
Yeah.
But they really didn't, because they didn't have that professional guidance to guide them through and really explore whatever it is they needed to address.
And that's like part of the ending, the conclusion of this research where they were highlighting the importance of breaking tradition or generational
Hmm.
habits and silence. Not talking about it is a habit that we all have. And seeing it as negative or taboo is also a habit that we should all break. And it stems from generations and generations. And that's just how we were grown up, or that's how we were
Hmm.
taught. But it's time to break that, right?
Yeah, and I think thank you for bringing up this topic, because I think this resonates not just with the Latinx community.
Yeah.
Everyone who is watching this, um, with whatever upbringing they may have some connection to this. But yeah, it's something that we all deal with, and sometimes we don't talk about. So thank you for bringing this topic to light. Did anything else here that we missed to talk about? Um,
One thing that I wanted to touch on was some of the resources that were presented to me to share with our audience who may be struggling with something similar. And I have that on the bottom of my article that was published. It's under helpful resources. And just to name a few, there are some resources that are local and available to all. And those include the Integral Care Hotline, and that's 512-472-HELP. Hearts to Heal, the Austin Center for Eating Disorders. But the full list, again, is here on our website with each link to every resource, as well as the full phone number here for that mental health crisis support line.
oh, that is so awesome. And again, I love that you brought up that the need to break that generational habits and silence. We have to break that cycle in anything, mental health or whatever it is that we need to address. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yes, and I like how you mentioned that this is not just in the Latino community, this is in every community, right?
Yes.
It's important that we have these conversations and we speak to experts too, so that we can see what really is going on behind the scenes and why this is happening and the research that goes into creating studies like this, right?
Yeah, and then sometimes maybe you just don't need to address this situation with your family right away. Maybe you just need a professional first to walk it through and get some guidance on how to address it with family or friends. So thank you for finding those resources. That's going to be very helpful.
And it's also kind of like a push. If you feel like you fall under this category
Hmm.
and have been afraid to seek help from a mental health provider, always remember there are people that don't know you and won't judge you. So don't be afraid to do it, right?
Yeah, that's important to know too.
Hmm. Well, I think this is all I have for my story. Jose, is there anything you want to share, preview, maybe something that you're working on?
I'm working on Medicare, and it's the enrollment period right now. It lasts for like 4 or 6 weeks, and there's things going on in Washington, and so I want to bring in an expert to help us uh, simplify that for people, whether it's your first time enrolling in Medicare, or maybe you already are under a Medicare program and you need help because you have to change plans every year. You don't have to change plans, but you have to re-enroll every year. And then sometimes they're a little different from the year before.
Requirements change. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good to just get a refresher course, or maybe if your parent is about to hit that requirement age. It's a good case study to lean into because yeah, eventually we're all gonna have to need it, or our parents are gonna have to need it soon.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're excited for that story
Mhm.
to come out and for us to talk about it here on Simple so we can break it down even more. But like I mentioned, that story that I wrote on eating disorders is on our website, kxcn.com. You can find it under the Simple Health tab. You can also find the interviews and this recording or this show as well after this stream is over. But thank you for joining me, Jose, and taking the reins on this stream this week. I know it's a little different, but I always want to try something new.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Oh, wait.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. It's time for an update. It's time for accountability time. How's your running?
you know, I am not friends with running right now because I
Mm.
went running right after you asked me the last time, and I was wearing my favorite bracelet and I lost it.
Running?
And I believe it was running.
Aw.
But
Well,
I
now you,
guess I'm going to have to go back and search for it.
yeah, I was gonna say now you have to go back and run to find
And
it.
search it for it and learn not to wear jewelry while I run anymore. I didn't know I had to do that, but I'm still doing it, Jose. I still got it.
Okay, good.
What about you?
Well, I'm recovering from a groin injury, but
Ooh,
I'm running a few miles here and there. But eventually, I want to hopefully do the half marathon in January or February, one of those two.
it's
So we'll
coming
see.
up.
Yeah, it's coming
And
up.
it's gonna be cold.
But you're running and then you're sweating, and so then your body gets too hot. So it'll be fine.
Well, maybe I'll join you.
Okay, we have it on video.
Maybe I'll join you. Well, thank you for joining me, Jose. We'll see you next week.
Alrighty.